with Earl Sweatshirt dropping Sick. I don't know if that's sick.
Sick.
However he puts it.
Album
But
4.
man, has it really been now 4 years since some rap songs? I guess really like 3.5.
Yep.
Since
End of
some rap songs.
2018, some rap songs. End of 2019, Feet of Clay EP. So been some time. First release in the pandemic for Earl Sweatshirt, who is only 28 years old still. Been in our lives a long time, Earl. But this version of Earl is only a few years old, as you say. The some rap songs era Earl.
You know, in reading up about this album, it was noted that he wanted to make a 17 track album that was a bit longer. This ended up only being about 10 tracks, 24 minutes, pretty concise. And if you even think about some rap songs, that album was known for it being chopped and screwed and very like short and quick. So what to expect from this album? Earl's always kind of evolving, looking different. Were you surprised at what Sick ended up being?
No, and it's actually quite funny to me because I see a lot of reviews talking about the album in that way. But this felt very familiar to me in the vein of some rap songs and Feet of Clay. Now, I am not like the biggest fan of this version of Earl. I definitely prefer like Doors version of Earl. So I don't run this stuff back all the time. There's a lot of hardcore Earl fans that do, and they probably can speak to more of the differences more finely. I think the obvious stuff is just the production is different, but Earl's like performance, it still kind of feels a lot like what he's been doing lately. These dense, conscious raps. Overall, it's this technical yet like hazy, grim, hip hop that is not close to anything his other Odd Future compatriots have been up to, obviously. So this didn't really surprise me all that much. But how did you feel about it?
Oh, I didn't really go in with a lot of expectations. I guess maybe I was expecting it to be a little bit more chopped and screwed and clunky in the best way, like some rap songs was at points. Uh, this definitely feels a little bit more, uh, I don't know, sparkly, shiny in some sense, a little bit more polished. But overall, I came away from this just being like, yeah, Earl is still really good. I really like a lot of the songs on here. I was mostly taken by the variety in the sounds that came from here. It wasn't like he was going all over the map in terms of genre, and uh, I was overall really pleased with the record. How did you feel about Sick though?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's good. Uh, and I don't listen to a lot of the other people that Earl's been moving with the past few years, right? On this album, you get Z Loopers and Arm& Hammer. In the past, you've got references to Mike and
Yeah,
Standing in the Corner, Navy Blue, a lot of more underground, but still well regarded East Coast hip hop for the most part. So I don't really listen to this kind of stuff all that much, but still, I think there's a lot of songs to enjoy. And like you say, there is a bit of variety on this, which is again funny to think about because it's not like the most obvious stuff you kind of have to really be listening to. And I actually really enjoy the fact that some rap songs, Feed of Clay and Sick, are all very short because in terms of like total runtime, because there's still a lot of like density to the bars coming from Earl. So I think it's helpful that there's more time to sit with the stuff because it does require that, even if these songs in particular are not super long. But there's definitely some stuff I liked. Again, this avant-garde vein. I thought quite easily my favorite song was Titanic, which is like the
mm,
closest Earl's come to like making a Vince Staples song in
mm.
years. Vince obviously a good friend of his, Odd Future affiliate back in the day. The beat on Titanic mixed with Earl's storytelling on that definitely felt less stream of conscious than some of his other songs tend to sound.
Yeah. Titanic, I think, is a clear standout. It's getting a lot of love off this. It's funny. I think the tracks that stood out most, all to me, all came from the same producer, which is maybe the biggest takeaway. Black Noise.
Mm,
It really, I think, had he popped off on four of the songs. So there's a couple other producers, The Alchemist, Ancestors on this as well. But yeah, Black Noise produced 2010, Vision, Titanic, and Fire in the Hole, which those last two wrap up the album. Uh, 2010 is so like futuristic and like has the
mm,
rising and falling synths to it, and then Vision is like almost like futuristic trappy sounding. It's definitely a weird mix, but I think it really fits Earl's personality. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, Titanic is absolutely great, and I think a clear lyrical standout for Earl, like you said. Um, Fire in the Hole is probably my least favorite out of the four, but
mm.
still has those like spindly strings that really just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stand out.
definitely stood out.
What other tracks did you like?
Yeah, I was gonna mention "Fire in the Hole" specifically for those guitars or
Mhm.
whatever kind of strings those were. But yeah, you said it. Vision, 2010, Titanic. I think those are the best ones. And
Yeah.
cool that Earl seemed to put a lot of thought into this one. This is his second Warner album, second release since his father passed. So it's been some time, and he had been working on something completely different, and he's really kind of switch up what he had been up to put this out. So that's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I of course would definitely love Earl to continue to evolve and perhaps go back to the well a little bit. But I don't know. He seems to definitely march to the beat of his own drum, which is obviously very admirable.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. I just wanted to shout out a couple other tracks here as well. I really like Tabula Rasa. I thought that was one of my favorites, and also I liked the way that Lie, like the horns in that, and then the horns in Lobby, which comes right after it, were so different, but felt kind of like of the same vein still. Just felt like a nice touch to the album for sure. You mentioned it's been the second album since his father passed, and he became a father, I think, since the last EP came out as well. So it seems like the idea of like life and death is kind of central to some of the themes on this. And yeah, I think the thing we can say about Earl is he's incredibly singular. Like no one really makes music like him. He's always evolving, and I really appreciate his artistry. So enjoy listening to this. Want him to keep working. Hope we don't have to wait another couple of years to hear